was supposed to give, but it did not give to the highest of giving, if that makes any sense.
Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm your big sis Nikki, and today I'm gonna talk about Grownish. Yeah, this is gonna be a very long video, so I hope you have something to eat or something to drink, because I'm gonna sit here for a while. Because yeah, I have a lot to talk about. But yeah, thank you for watching, and let's go on with the video. So, if you have not watched this show, it's basically a spin-off show of Blackish, and it follows the eldest daughter, Zoey Johnson, into her journey of becoming an adult in this day and age, with her friends by her side. So, would I recommend that show? It really depends. If you overthink and like conflict resolutions, probably don't. But if you just watch a show just to watch it, then yeah, then of course, then yes, then watch the first episode, see it for yourself. I think you would like it. So, and before I will talk shit, I will definitely talk about the things I like about the show. And that's basically also the only reason why I, still watched it till the last episode of season 4, I guess, yeah. And those reasons are that it looks good. Like, this show kind of suffers from pretty privilege. Like, there isn't a lot of plot or story to tell, but it really, really looks good. Like, the attempted diversity is nice, like, even though we don't have a lot of representation, especially when it comes to skin color and stuff like that. Sucks, but again, it's just nice to see Black people and other people of color just looking stylish and having fun and not really have to worry about a lot of stuff, and the stuff is mainly, if at all, relationship drama. So it's nice to see it in that way, and it's the only reason why I liked even watching it. But yeah, that's it. That's really the only reasons why I kept watching. So now we're going to talk about the characters, but before I talk about the characters in detail, I want to just talk about them in general and how they are structured, because sadly every character, including the main protagonist, aka Zoey, none of them get a background story. There is never a flashback. It's just that the characters don't really seem like three-dimensional human beings. Editing me here, I totally forgot to mention that no one really in that show has any character arc. At least it wasn't really clear what the character arc was for each person. You can maybe argue that Zoey has it, but just in case if you don't know what it is, I will definitely put a definition up here. And basically a character arc is the path a character takes over the course of a story. A character arc involves adversity and challenges, as well as some changes to the character, and ultimately leads to resolution. And I feel like no one really had that. Like, there wasn't like a specific beginning to an end, where I could say that they really changed and for the better and they learned their lessons. Like, no, sadly not. So that is also what I feel like was missing, even though character arcs for each person or for each main character was there. Like, there was a potential for it to turn into a character arc, but they just, I guess, really didn't bother. As an example, I would say, Anna, her thing was to be a conservative Republican. So logically, it would make sense, especially with her friend group, that she would, slowly start questioning her beliefs and maybe not identify herself anymore as a conservative, Like, that would make a lot of sense. I mean, even in the end, in season 4, she did that. She slowly stopped believing in a lot of those things that she used to, you know. So that would have been interesting if that would actually be, a present theme in that show. And it's the same thing for Aaron. For example, it was made, I don't know, I would say it was made clear in this first season that he was a hotep, just basically a guy who's a fake activist who only does it for show, and then he maybe had lived something or he experienced something that he realized that, oh shit, that's real, let me make an actual change. How can I really impact people's lives? And that's when he slowly calls out his own coloristic beliefs and stuff like that and decides to become a better person. That should have been a consistent theme, in my opinion. I mean, those are just, I would say the best examples. So, but also kind of, makes it a problem, because how are you supposed to develop a character if there isn't a personality to develop, But anyways, let's talk about the characters more in detail. Let's go to Anna and talk about her. Anna is basically the conservative Republican Latina, which is interesting why they would choose someone like that. I kind of expected Zoe's best friend to be a dark-skinned girl, Even though they could have also still done that, they could have also had an Afro-Latina easily casted, in my opinion. Sadly, they didn't. They just chose... I mean, the actress, again, no hate against her, but, her role isn't really that demanding that you really have to have a lot of experience or something like that, no. She's just okay-ish. She's also kind of annoying and very much judgmental, too. So, understandable why her and Zoe are best friends. Yikes. But yeah, there's nothing really much to say. It's kind of also sad that they make her out to be this spicy Latina, which really annoyed me, because the only times that she has screen time is when she has some sort of love interest. For example, the times when she was with Aaron, or had this situationship with Aaron, then with Javi and stuff like that. She usually behaved like this, the crazy person who just wants the answers, who just wants to be in a relationship. And also the times where Anna broke Javi's tablet because she found out that he has a STD, or there was someone that he slept with has an STD and he kept it from her, which understandably I would also be pissed. But yeah, she's relatively very much overdramatic, and it's, in my opinion, only because she's Latina, which is kind of disrespectful. So let's talk about Aaron, shall we? He's basically the fake woke activist, which, in my opinion, the first season was just so bad. But over the seasons, he got better, and the only good thing, though, that he did was to make the university divest in prisons, which was good, I can see, and also the only times when Zoe was there for Aaron. But yeah, that's the only good thing, and there's nothing really much to say when it comes to him. He really seems like a confused person, in my opinion, who just, tries to learn what he wants to do with his life and all that stuff, which is completely fine, I mean, he was, at least his character was in the show 19, 20, 21, it's completely fine and fair if you're confused. But it's kind of sad that he only really exists to be a love interest. That's his only purpose. The whole activism thing is just something for him to do when he's not with Zoe, it's kind of sad. But yeah, and also, in my opinion, he should have been an F-boy, if you know what it means, because he had a lot of moments, especially in season 1, that could have been signs that he was. For example, when he texted Zoe, "Are you up?" Especially a lot of the times in the middle of the night. Come on now. That is not how you show a girl that you have romantic feelings for her. I mean, come on now. I was so surprised. I mean, I was not that surprised because it was, like predictable, but I was kind of surprised how hard they tried to make him this Prince Charming when it comes to Zoey. Like, he treated every girl horrible, like, even when he had this weird on and off thing in the first season with Zoey, he was also seeing other women on the side, and when he and in season 2 he had a situationship with Anna, which was kind of like an asshole move because he gave Anna so many mixed signals, and he probably has done them on purpose, which is kind of insane. And he even cheated on Rochelle with Zoey. So in my opinion, it's just insane how they try to make him out to be this like good guy, even though when it comes to romantic stuff, he needs to work on himself. He doesn't really seem like someone who really wants a relationship right now. He just needs to, find himself, figure out what he wants to do with his life, and maybe has hookups with different women. But a serious relationship, especially when it comes to Zoey, I find it hard to believe that he would actually commit, And also surprised that he didn't cheat on Zoey, because like he cheated on his first relationship on campus with Zoey, so it's kind of, it wouldn't be surprised if he cheated on her as well with someone else. Like, in real life it would happen, but because it's a show and it's because Zoey is so special, they just try to make it seem like, oh no, he would never do that to Zoey. Shut up, bitch. Anyways, yeah, and the only good thing that I really like is that he and Luca does tell Zoey the truth when it comes to her personality. Like, I do like that sometimes, but it's still irritating because he tells her the truth. He tells her that she's actually like really, really selfish, and that she's like the only one who is able to mess with his head, but still at the same time wants to be with her, which is also just like annoying. Just like, either you want to be with her or not, then just stop acting like those things that you have listed are any like hindrance that makes you not want to be with her. No, they would still drop everything to be with her, even if it was only for a night, which is kind of annoying. But anyway, let's move on. Nomi, in my opinion, she's actually one of my favorite characters, because she's bisexual like me. So, and also most of the times I kind of see myself in her when it comes to her opinions and stuff like that. Of course, there are like moments when I just don't like her. For example, the whole dating hierarchy episode in season 1, she was really an asshole in that episode, and some others as well. But most of the time I do see myself basically kind of in her. I feel like she's like the messy bisexual. And hey, so I just want to clear up what I really mean with the whole messy bisexual, is that her character, it was just really all over the place. Like, you can really tell that they didn't have any clue what to do with her character. I mean, in the beginning, she dated this one dude, bisexual dude, but broke up with him because she had internal homophobic beliefs still ingrained in her. So she couldn't stand the fact that she went out with a guy who who also likes other guys, even though that's exactly what she's doing. But anyways, and then the whole affair thing with the professor, and the whole phase when she was only sleeping with straight girls, it was just so weird and so messy. She literally has no goals or ambition in her future, which, it's just so pity. Like, there is something about her character that could have, like, would have been interesting, but I guess we will never find out. And sadly, they really also had to mess up by making her character pregnant, which is so really, I hated it so much. But yeah, that's it. But like, really making her having an affair with a professor, that is not, why can we please stop doing this whole trope? Like, it's just so annoying, and it just makes it look like that they're trying to normalize it, which is even more wrong. Like, why would you think of having a student and professor relationship? Why would you think it's okay? Like, this Nomi was in that show, in that season, 19. Like, I'm 20. And I cannot even imagine having a relationship with a 40-year-old professor, let alone my professor, bitch. That is just no. Maybe they planned on showing the audience on why it's not okay, but we will never know. You know, because like it was teased in the second season. So you have to get used to this phase as well. I didn't think I would have to do so many corrections, but here we are. So what I was trying to say is in season 2, at the very end, well, in the last episode, we Nomi got a call, which was basically about, you know, the whole investigation thing about her and Paige's relationship. Paige, if you don't remember, is the name of the professor. And yeah, I was really excited because I was finally thinking like, oh shit, you know, we finally see the consequences and how that relationship truly affected her. But no, as you may know, in season 3, she just got pregnant, and we only heard like one small update about that situation, which was that Paige no longer works at that university, but that's it. We never find out what happened to her or if she can still be a professor. We have no idea. We don't even know if there was other victims as well, which probably was, because Paige literally initiated almost everything. The only thing what she didn't initiate was Nomi coming to her for advice for the very first time. But that was it. Other than that, Paige was literally the one texting her constantly, giving her advice, like really taking advantage of her vulnerability at that moment. So I was always from the jump like against that relationship. Vivek, yeah, my guy needs, well, he's not in the 5th season anymore, so I guess that is already over with and done with, but he should have had way more screen time. He's a drug dealer. He has amazing grades, is a social butterfly, and at the same time is so sweet to everyone, especially the girls, and very much respectful and so sweet and nice. Like, he's so adorable, like I know he's like the kind of weird guy, but in my opinion, if they gave him like a chance to be a real character, to be a real three-dimensional person, he would have been the most interesting of them all, like. And what I really also really hated is the fact that he is the stereotypical desexualized Asian guy. And if you don't know what it is, the Take has done a really, really good video. I feel like I didn't really explain it well enough, so I'm gonna basically read a quote from The Take, who has done a really good video, by the way, about that topic. So maybe if you click somewhere here, you can go watch it, but if it's not here, then it's definitely in the link down below. Yeah. But anyway, let's go to quoting The Take. Asian male characters in film and TV have long been sidelined, emasculated, and denied the chance to have romantic sexual relationships. That's when they're not being openly mocked, which in my opinion really, really fits Vivek, because he's always being mocked. He never really he only got one love interests, which is so sad, because again, there are 4 seasons and he was not even in the group seen as a good person to be around. I mean, yes, they did like him, but like I feel like they only tolerated him, and he deserves so much more. I don't care what you say. Like, he's really just the butt of the joke, and especially when it came to the whole cultural appropriation episode, it was just confusing to me why they chose Vivek for that episode, because he never has done anything of those things outside of that episode, like the whole weave check and stuff like that. Like, we have never seen him doing that before or after that episode. Like, that just came out of nowhere to give Doug more of a reason to accuse him of a cultural appropriation, you know. And what I also feel like could have been added to that episode is if Vivek actually told Doug or his group of friends how he really doesn't want to be the stereotypical Asian guy that everyone kind of expects of him, you know. That's also one of the reasons why he also became the drug dealer, because no one would really suspect a straight A student whose parents come from India to be a drug dealer, you know. And that's also one of the reasons why he really relies on black culture so much. But yeah, I'm just saying he had so much more potential to be a really, really fun character, and he would have definitely outshined everyone, in my opinion. But yeah, he's my favorite character, and I feel like they really misused him in so many ways. But let's move on. Doug, oh well, what can I in my opinion, in the beginning, he wasn't bad at all. He was relatively, I guess, a good person, a decent person, and was very respectful towards Jazz and everyone else. However, he basically became more and more of a misogynist in season 2 and 3, and just a little bit in 4. But I would say it started in season 2, episode 8. And it basically the episode is about Jazz and Sky wanting to change their image in order to attract more sponsors and brands, which is fair, you know. They're supposed to be, you know, broke in that show, so that's understandable. And in that episode, he basically made it all about himself, and he even he blamed Jazz for getting sexually assaulted, which is the most disgusting thing he has done in that show. So that's basically how the slut-shaming started. Yeah, disgusting, but what can you do? And the worst thing is, he just stopped doing it in season 4B completely, which without any explanation. I mean, Jess just said that he apologized for everything after during quarantine, because he thought he was gonna die because he had kidney stones in his in him, and because he really, really felt like shit, he thought he's not gonna make it, so let me just make amends with her. And I guess that just worked. I have yet to see the apology that he gave her, or even as a flashback, but it's just stopped. I mean, it's just like insane, because like they made him say so many things to insult her. He humiliated her even at one point in front of everyone, and he just said sorry, and she's just gonna take it. Nah, but like, again, eat shit. I mean, he got better in the 4th season, but still, just out of nowhere, I would have liked to see his change of heart. I would have liked to see his realization when he finally realized, like, oh shit, what I've been saying is fucked up. Let me apologize. Can I make it up to you? I would have liked to see the scene, but no, we never got it. He just apparently apologized off screen, and that's it. And also, by the way, he's also has homophobic beliefs, just like Aaron. But again, they never work on those beliefs. They never work on it and try to make it better. They never do. It's just they stopped believing all of those things, and I'm just to believe that they did work on it. It's just so lazy writing. Jesus fucking Christ. And by the way, it's just so insane. Like, it's just also got annoying, because like, you don't, like, why is he even a part of the main group? Like, honestly, why is he? Like, after he broke up with Jazz, or after Jazz broke up with him officially, there is literally no reason for him to be around, you know, like, literally none. it's just so weird that he got screen time at all. The same thing with Luca, and he's the same next person we're going to talk about. He and Doug are like throwaway characters. They could have been thrown away without, and it wouldn't really change much, you know. Like Luca could have easily been replaced with a different with a new character who's also into fashion, and Zoey could have worked with her in the last season to create the company and stuff like that, you know, in my opinion. Again, nothing against the actor, but it's just the truth. Like, what is Luca really, his things, it didn't really affect the story all that much. Anyways, and yeah, by the way, I also, in my opinion, the reason why he even exists in the first place, again, like Aaron, is to be the love interest, which is also so boring because, like, he doesn't do anything else when he's not with Zoey. The only thing he does, or he did in season 3, was starting to create his own company, which was nice and all, but that was it. Like, there was nothing really, like, yes, he had Jillian for one season, or for not even a season, for like a few episodes, but that was also like over because he was still in love with Zoey. Like, come on now. He could have really been cut off because, like, he is so unnecessary. He doesn't add anything. I'm sorry, but, like, it's true. I mean, the only thing that I do like is that he tells Zoey the truth from time to time, especially when it comes to her personality. But again, it's so confusing on if you tell her the truth. If you tell her that she's selfish and stuff like that and all those bad things, then why the hell do you want to be in a relationship with her? Make it make sense, you know? Like, I would understand if she is like if she is his first love, but that's not the case, you know? Like, it was also like mentioned that he already has a first love or something, you know, during the whole gallery exhibition in season 2. But I don't know, it's just so annoying. Like, the only reason why Zoey and Luca even got together is because they're in the same class. Don't shoot me, but it's the truth. And when it comes to Sky and Jazz, well, they're both, you know, the stereotypical black girls. I mean, they definitely got better in season 3 and 4. I mean, at least Jazz. Sadly, Sky wasn't really there in season 3 because she was off filming The Mermaid. So good for her, but like kind of sad because I kind of hoped to see her character more developed. But I was so happy though that Jazz finally had a chance to, you know, develop because she was finally on her own. She was miles away from her sister, and it's like the first time that she was really on her own, and also quitting her favorite activity, you know, doing track, that also like was supposed to be her future, you know, which was interesting. And I really was so excited, but of course, instead of, you know, showing us how it affects Jazz and all that stuff, we got a new love interest, you know, which is so disappointing because I really was like so excited to see how she deals with being single and how she deals without her being with her sister, you know, without having her best friend around, and maybe how she maybe would, like, you know, bond with someone else, you know, as a friend or even as a new best friend, maybe with Zoey, maybe with someone else, I don't know, with a new character. Would have been nice, but no, she got a new love interest instead, which is really fucking frustrating because, like, the moment when they had a chance to really show what's like to be finally on your own, they just destroy it and just, you know, push and create a whole new character to make her all about relationships, I guess. Which, I mean, of course, it's nice to finally see a queer black guy be a love interest, but at the same time I do really wish that she was actually on her own at that time. But it was still nice to see her on therapy. It was also nice that it was addressed that she has situational depression, and yeah, like, it was nice that finally someone within the main group deals with something other than relationship drama. I mean, she also dealt with relationship drama, but that was also like, that was not really the cause. It was just, you know, something that happened, you know, she's alone, sister is not really as much available as she used to be because she's in the Olympics, and she doesn't really have anyone that she's really close to in the group, so it makes sense for her to, you know, go see a therapist and also get medication. I just wish that she got more screen time of her dealing with that versus her having, you know, this situationship, or I guess fling with the black weird guy. I forgot his name, but you get what I'm saying. Really wish that was more, you know, like put in a back burner. But yeah, that's it though. I liked her sort of journey in season 4. And when it comes to Sky, I feel like her character was actually a little bit inconsistent because they're trying to tell me, sorry, I'm actually eating, but they're trying to tell me that during the whole show that she's so unapologetic and she's all about telling the truth and making sassy comments, and sometimes those comments are actually funny, but it's just so weird to me when she finally got a boyfriend, a white boyfriend, by the way, who really looks racially ambiguous, which is so weird. Why couldn't she just get a actual white boyfriend who actually looks white? You know, that was just so weird. Anyways, but when she finally got it, and when the guys found out that her boyfriend was white, it was so weird that that Aaron and Doug made fun of her. Like, what? I mean, I could maybe understand Doug making fun of her for that, because she asked him why he only dates white girls or just non-black girls, so maybe I get that. But for Aaron to make fun of her, it's weird, because, like, sir, don't you have a preference for light skins? You should be the last one to laugh. Bitch, I mean, again, whatever. Yeah, by the way, I forgot to mention, Aaron is an activist who is colorist and also has the homophobic beliefs. Make it make sense. I really wished his beliefs could have gone, maybe challenged or something, you know. But maybe I will talk about it later. I will definitely go to talk about it later. Yeah, when it comes to the twins, it's just, you know, the kind of stereotypical black girl, mean black girls who say sassy stuff all the time. I mean, definitely, again, their character got developed a little bit better, you know. They got to be more, they got to be more vulnerable in season 3 and in season 4, which is really, really nice to see, because they got less sassy and more-ish of a human. But yeah, I could have still made more improvements in my opinion. And yeah, when it comes to Sky, sadly, there was still a lot of things left for the character, but sadly, she didn't have any time to shoot for Grownish. But, you know, yeah, what is there to say about Zoey's character? The thing is, I wouldn't even be mad if Zoey's character was made to be an unlikable character. You know, like, I wouldn't mind it. You know, I would even be excited, because it's just so much you can do with that, you know? The least thing you can do is acknowledge that she has an unlikable personality. Yeah, yes, they do acknowledge that. However, Zoey never really acknowledged it. Even though Luca and Aaron tell her off a lot of the times, and even her female friends as well. Like, they do say a lot of the times, like, hey, like, I'm just trying to tell you as gently as possible, but you are very judgmental. Like, that's also one of the reasons Nomi didn't feel comfortable telling Zoey that she's pregnant, because she knew that she would very much be judgmental. And it's just insane how her friends just accepted it. Like, they have no reason to be friends with her. Not even one. Like, Zoey treated Nomi like crap. The same thing with Anna. Literally, even the first episode, we find out that she left Anna to a party that she brought her to, and just because she puked once in a party, in a college party, she left her all by herself because she didn't want to be associated with her. And what really bothers me the most is that the show acknowledges, the writers who knows that she's unlikable, and they make each main character tell her that. that she's selfish and only cares about herself. But Zoey never does anything with it. She just hears it, is sad for a while, and makes this, weird sad puppy face. And what is even the most wild is every time that she actually does something that has an impact on people, that really gives them an actual reason to be mad at them, she conveniently gets a panic attack. And then the people who were mad at her forgive her because they acknowledge how busy she has been and how this fight has been probably the cause of her panicking, so I guess they forgive her. And it's just so lazy writing, and the thing is, they just use her panic attacks as a plot device. They never really establish or talk about how her anxiety actually affects her. Never even once. Not even once. It's just so frustrating, It's just, as someone who has, deals with mental health, like, that's not something that just happens so that people can forgive you, sweetie. But no, it's not even, I'm not mad at Zoey, I'm not mad at the actress, I'm just mad at the writers for using the panic attack as a plot. But yeah, and the thing, and just like, the panic attacks, they use it to make, for Zoey to not face any consequences, which it's the whole fucking season. Like, she never really faces any consequences. Like, she maybe learns a lesson here or two. So I'm just gonna use my favorite episode as an example. The episode when Zoey has to get a job because her parents kinda but not really cut her off for her to buy her basic needs, or just to buy fancy stuff. She decides to get a job, and then at the end of the episode, we basically learn with Zoey that it's really important for you, especially as a young person, to have patience and learn how to also appreciate the little things, and learn to work your way upwards, and instead of always trying to find loopholes to immediately be successful. That was basically the lesson of that episode. But yeah, in season 3, episode 1, we basically find out that that she completely forgot about that lesson. We find out that just in 3 months, Zoey went from working in a boutique to running it, and then being so talented that she became Joey Badass's personal stylist as a college student. But for her to be that talented, to do what she has done in 3 months, I don't believe that. That is just rubbish. That's bullshit. No. Who wrote that? Who wrote that dialogue? I can maybe believe that she, instead of running boutique, that she was with Joey Badass the whole time, and she just recommended him clothing from time to time, and there was one emergency, one time, and he needed a stylist, no one was available, so she helped him, and it convinced him to make her his stylist. That's something I could believe in, right? Like, that's the story that I could believe. But what she has said, no fucking way. But let's move on. I'm mad at that. But yeah, but also let's also not get too far ahead, because like, it's just so interesting how she is like the only character who really gets to have opportunities. When it comes to like career opportunities, there weren't really any for anyone unless it was for Zoey, I guess, and Aaron. And it's kind of sad, because like, the only reason why she got those opportunities is because she's the protagonist. It's not because she's the most talented. I highly doubt that she is. It's just because she's lucky. And I really find it sad that there was no real character development, I wish there could have been something, that makes me say, oh yeah, in this finale, she really, like, outdone herself. She has really changed. Like, I cannot say that. if I watch the first season, in the last season, there's barely any change. Like, for me to say, like, oh yeah, she has grown. There's nothing. In season 4B, it's just everyone just develops and changes for the better. All of a sudden, it's only because they know it's the last season where everyone is there. That's the only reason why they improved everyone in season 4B. So let's talk about the things that should have consequences but didn't. I mean, the wildest thing is when she dropped out of college in order to pursue her career. Don't get me wrong, I was really, really for it. Like, really. It made a lot of sense in my opinion because she had a really, really good bosses. Like Indigo and Joy Badass, really, really, you can tell that they respected her and saw her as a friend. They really let her grow and let her make mistakes and stuff like that. So I also would have considered, dropping out of school. And the fact that Joey Badass also gave her more clients also shows that he's really supportive and he doesn't expect anything in return, if you know what I'm saying. So that would have been interesting to see if they actually, didn't let her go back to school. That would have been an interesting twist. So it would have been also an interesting way to actually make this show about becoming a grown adult. Because, I mean, otherwise the show could have really been called college-ish, because, like, all we really see, so they are always in college campuses, or, like, campuses, they're always on school property, but we never really see them any outside of it, other than bars and clubs, like, why don't we see them having fun during summertime or spring break or something, like, why don't we see that? Like, then it just takes out the grown aspect, in my opinion. They could have really just renamed it college-ish. But whatever. But that would have really made this show interesting, That would have really shaken things a lot up. But no, they really, they just pushed the brakes and let her have this for like 1 or 2 episodes. But then immediately like make her quit, which is also a new point that I'm trying to make. It's just also a new thing that should have had consequences but didn't, which is her quitting her job because of a rumor. She quit her job, her dream job, because of a rumor. But then the worst thing is she didn't even try to correct it. If she tried to correct it and it didn't go nowhere or even made it worse, I would maybe understand that, her trying to protect her reputation, that would make it understandable. But the fact that she didn't even try to make it better is just insane. Indigo, aka Sweetie, told her the truth, like, hey, as a woman who works in the entertainment industry, your reputation is everything and you have to deal with it accordingly. At least you have to learn to deal with it, And I was so excited because, like, it kind of was like, oh shit, is she actually going to learn something? Is she actually going to do something and learn from it? But no, she quit her job and just went back to school and re-enrolled in it without any problem. Joy Badass even said, hey, if you're ready, you can come back anytime. But for him to just say, hey, yeah, you can come back every time you want, it's just so unrealistic. And, and what the interesting thing is also, is that her parents never said anything. Like, they're financing everything, Sweetie. Like, no pun intended, but, like, they're financing everything when it comes to her school thing. Like, they didn't even, we didn't even see the parents make Zoey, we didn't even see Zoey and her parents having a serious phone call, Like, I can maybe understand for them being okay with the fact that she dropped out of school because she had a job at that time, and she wanted to pursue that career. That was understandable. But what I kind of expected from them is that they would say like, hey, yeah, if you want to drop out, that's your thing, it's your decision, but we will not finance school if you decide to come back to it. I kind of expected that, so she can really reconsider, like, hey, should I really do it or should I not? But she did it, so I kind of was so disappointed when I didn't see the parents react to it, not even a little bit. So when she re-enrolled without any problem, I thought, huh? When does she have the money? But I guess the parents also have no problem with it. That is privilege, Jesus Christ. That is really privilege. I mean, I don't know. I would have liked to see what she would have done if there wasn't a safety. Ugh, don't even think about it, Nicole. And also, the kicker is third season finale. When Zoey came back and immediately slept with Aaron, even though he was with Rochelle. It's just insane. And she was so disgustingly unapologetic. She was like, oh yeah, I mean, I know they were together, but I saw him first, so, I had dips. And she was just so proud. And then finally, when she saw that Aaron didn't plan on telling Rochelle that he slept with Zoey, she was so crushed. I was like, finally, tell her off. And he did tell her off. And I kind of expected the whole love triangle to finally disappear. But no. He broke up with Rochelle next episode. And then, he and Zoey became a thing. And in season 4, they're in a real committed relationship. It was so disappointing. It's just so disappointing because I really expected Aaron to be a fuckboy and to finally show his true colors. But no, for some reason, he's only loyal and committed when it comes to Zoey. But for any other girl, apparently not. Which is weird. Really, really weird. But anyways, let's talk about the friend group dynamic. So I will somewhere have a screen up here to show you every important cast member. And we're gonna talk about, again, the friend group dynamic and how it just doesn't make sense. Really does not. And I'm gonna show you. We're gonna start with Anna. So, Anna. She's a conservative Republican. It just doesn't make sense why she would be friends with any of them. Do you really believe that they wouldn't fight all the time? That sounds interesting. No. And also, why did she have to be Republican? It really doesn't make sense. Do you really believe that Republicans gonna watch the show? Delusion. So she shouldn't would no way be in the group. No. Let's talk about Nomi. Her character does make sense. Yeah, I would hold it to anyone accountable. But again, she's only friends with Zoey. No one else. Maybe Luca, but even their friendship I really find weird. It just also came out of nowhere just to give him also a reason to be in the group, even though he's not really in the group, So, again, she probably would be in the group, but even though she also says weird stuff, sometimes microaggressive stuff, she will probably be in the group. However, again, she's not friends with any of them except from Zoey, so it's confusing why she should even be in the group. Let's talk about Luca. He's not even really in the group. I don't know why he's a main character. They have nothing for him. They didn't plan anything. He's just a love interest, and it's there as soon as Zoey calls and blows the whistle. There's really nothing there's nothing really else to say. I kind of find it sad that it didn't try to make him more caring, because in the beginning of the show, it was really well established that he doesn't care about anything. It would have been nice if he did open up a little bit more and let more people in, That would have been nice, but sadly it didn't happen. Will probably never happen again, thankfully, because he's not in the show in the 5th season. And let's talk about the twins. So, I really don't know why they're in the group. Why? They don't like anyone. Zoey never bonded with them, or the twins never really bonded with Nomi or Anna or Luca or Vivek, or Doug is of course the only exception because that's Jazz's love interest. But even Sky doesn't really like him as a friend. And the same with Aaron. I mean, they kind of tolerate Aaron. That's the only thing. And also the only reason why they may be friends with Aaron is because he is running Hawkins, aka the Black Dorm Room. Whatever the space thingy is called. Where the black people are hanging out at. But yeah, they wouldn't be friends with them in real life, no. They would maybe, be friends with them in freshman year because they don't have much friends and, cling to the group as a kind of desperation. And as soon as they would make friends, they would immediately ditch them. That's what I would think that would happen and probably would happen. So they wouldn't be in the friend group. When it comes to Doug, he is nice. He was nice again in the beginning, but he was sadly an asshole in later of the seasons, and then became better. But he wouldn't be in the friend group because he was only in a relationship with one of the main characters. That's it. Maybe he would be friends with Vivek and Aaron, yeah, but only that would happen from time to time, not all the time. So he would not be in the friend group. And when it comes to Vivek, in my opinion, there's a 50-50 chance that he actually would be in a friend group. I don't know. I can also see him being this very hype, extroverted person that would invite you to every party that he would be invited in, and try to have fun with you and stuff like that. But I don't think he would actually be there 24/7 and be friends with you or even be your roommate, So I would just have a circle stay there. And when it comes to Aaron, I could see him be there or just pop out from time to time because he is older than everyone in this group, right? So he should already have his best friend clique. So it's kind of weird for me that he is in this group so much or hangs out with them a lot. It's really confusing me. It was like in season 1, it was very much like good shown that that he's very extroverted and knows everyone in school, or at least majority of the people, and for him to just hang out with them just is weird to me. So every time that he would have this fling going on with Zoey, that is probably when we would see him more often, but again, he still wouldn't be actually a part of the group. So bye. So yeah, I guess the only people in the group would be Zoey and Nomi, but even she wouldn't even really be in the group because Zoey treated her like trash. The episode/topics that really should have been deleted. Really, it shouldn't have seen the light of day. And we're gonna talk about the whole consent thing and how the show handled it. I'm so tired. Jesus Christ. I'm not really sure which episode it was. I will put it somewhere here. It was definitely season 1 or 2. No, season 2. But it was definitely the episode that the group talked about the whole enthusiastic super consent policy. And for some reason, it just was so poorly done. I mean, the whole episode is weird to me. Like, I really don't get what they were trying to say, or what the message was. I have no idea, because all they have done is complain about consent. Excuse me, bitch, what? And the reason why they talked about it is because, the first guy that Zoey was together with, Cash, he hooked up with a girl in a party, but before they hooked up, they both were drinking. So after they drank alcohol, they went to a bedroom and they hooked up. The girl told her friend what happened. He asked her for more details. She said, it was a little bit blurry, because of the alcohol, but she didn't say it was because of the alcohol. So what the friend that she told him spread it and told everyone else, and everyone believes that that Cash assaulted the girl, even though it was not what happened. And so the school therefore made this policy in order to save their own ass. And yeah, they talked about it and how bullshit it is, which is so weird to me, because it's not, I can understand where they're coming from, but it's just so weird, because that policy is never brought up again. It's just in this one episode and never again. So they just complain about how you can't, or how it's so inconvenient for students to hook up with other people if they're not drinking alcohol, which is so dumb. And then they talk about other topics like, rape, and how also men can be victims too. Yeah, and then they whine and complain about how asking for consent isn't sexy, which, what? It's not about making it sexy, it's just about safety, sweetie. Just because you asking for consent doesn't ruin the mood. If someone wants to hook up with you, enthusiastically wants to hook up with you, they don't care about the question. They're gonna say, "Are you kidding me?" Of course, and they're gonna rip their clothes off. I don't understand why they had to make it such big of a deal. All they had to do is just ignore the sober part and just make sure that your partner is just as drunk or maybe as high as you are. As soon as if one person is completely sober and one isn't, and they can just barely make a sentence, sweetie, that is grape. And by the way, apparently Anna raped a guy and it was never mentioned again. And Nomi just casually said, like, "Hey, didn't you technically sexually assaulted this one guy at the party?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, I guess." I mean, it's not funny, by the way. I'm just shocked how they just didn't care. I mean, they just noticed, they noticed how that could be problematic, but they just glossed over that shit. So, like, Anna sexually assaulted someone, and it was never brought up again. How insane. We're gonna talk about slut-shaming next. Hola, it's me again. So I just wrote down a few things on why I feel like this specific thing is the core problem of Grownish. So if you want to keep listening, I'm gonna read it out for you. If you don't want to, you can skip to the next topic. No hard feelings. I'm very grateful if you're even still watching this. So let's go. I just wanted to mention how I find it very confusing on what the intention of the show is when it comes to heavy topics. Are the dialogues supposed to mimic the real life conversations, or is it supposed to set a good example on how to handle them? The dialogues themselves are somewhat realistic when the group argues. However, the topics in question are too broad to draw a conclusion. For example, in this episode, the one I just talked about with the whole consent thing and the policy, they acknowledge the act of sexual violence, which made most of them agree on why this specific policy is important. At least it's making them talk about those issues, which isn't even a problem. However, there aren't a whole lot of people who will find themselves in this specific situation, the ones that, the characters also found themselves in. So what was the point of this episode? Was it supposed to be relatable, or just to talk about sexual assault just because? It seems like they have a whole woke checklist, and sexual violence was on the list of things to talk about. All things considered, the show being a sitcom forces it to play it safe and therefore makes it come across as a kids show, if you take the drugs and the handful amount of sex scenes out of it. So, slut-shaming. I mean, you would think for a show that really tries to pat on themselves on the back for being so progressive, you wouldn't think that they would really have slut-shaming as one of the main things that occurs in the show. It's not even like they talk about it and show how problematic it is. No, none of that. They just slut-shame the characters. It's insane. Like, what? And the whole slut-shaming thing started in season 2. More specifically, season 2, episode 8 and 6. And it started basically, I think episode 6, I don't know, but like episode starts off with someone, a new athlete getting her own flyer or something. I don't know what this thing is called. I would just put a picture on top of here, right next to Cash, the other guy who's the basketball athlete, and right next to him is the female basketball athlete. And I don't know if she's black, but she's racially ambiguous, so looks at least racially ambiguous, so maybe she is not, I don't know. But yeah, both of them are basketball athletes, and they're right next to each other. And I guess they are the only athletes who do get those things. And like a little bit further away, we see Aaron, Vivek, and the twins staring at the poster or whatever the thing is called. And the twins immediately slut-shame the hell out of the girl. And they say the most insane thing. I mean, the name of the female athlete is, by the way, Chastity. And if you have seen the poster, if you've seen her in the show, then it's kind of... That name is very much of a joke. Someone who wrote that ain't slick, sorry, but like, come on now, really? Chastity? The twins basically say that girls like her, or female athletes like her, hold other female athletes who don't show their bodies like that, provocatively, hold them back, which is like insane. Something to say, like, what? She didn't design the system, sweetie. Why are you so mad? Like, I can understand where they're coming from, because they, apparently we have never seen them working hard to be taken seriously, which could have been an own episode at least, but no, we never. But yeah, apparently they have a hard time being taken seriously, especially as a female athlete, a black female athlete on top of that. And so seeing someone who looks like Chastity and her using her body to further or give herself more opportunities doesn't sit right with the twins, which is fair, but calling her thought and basically saying that she holds other female athletes back is a little bit an overstatement. Jesus. Again, she didn't design the system, sweetie. But anyways, she's like the first girl who really like gets slut shamed. Like, she, again, Chastity really gets called a slut, a hoe, the thought, a bitch, all the names. And like, it's so insane. I don't know, like, it's just so insane to me that they would do that, and they think it's just okay. And the wildest thing is, like, Aaron, like, kind of tell them off, like, hey, shouldn't you, like, okay, no, his response wasn't the best, but at least he said, give her a chance, maybe she's a good athlete, we never know. Yeah, I saw her playing basketball and stuff like that, and the insane thing is that how the men in the show, especially during the episode, just behaved like animals. I will definitely insert a clip, but that's just so insane. Like, no one corrected them. No one said, hey, behave. It is still, like basketball game, like, chill, we understand you find her attractive, but you have to calm down. Like, no one says that. Everyone just lets the guys just make weird animal noises as soon as she takes off her shirt. It's disgusting. And the wildest thing is, we never really get to see her perspective. All we see her do is just taking it and ignoring that it really even happens. Like, I would love to have heard her perspective and humanize her. I really hope they would humanize her and tell her the other side of being a female athlete who dresses provocatively. I would have liked to hear her side, but no, we never get it. And Jazz and Sky get told by Vivek and Erin that she is an influencer, she gets a lot of brand deals, and probably makes at least 10K a month, which is not bad. But do you really want to be an ambassador for Fitty? I don't think so. So Jess and Sky therefore think about changing their appeal, maybe to change it like hers. And I would have really loved if Sky and Jazz, or at least Jazz, just went up to her and asked for advice. Again, to humanize her, but no, we never get it. We see Jazz being very much ambitious in the 8th episode of season 2. And Zoey actually helps the twins change their appearance and change their style, at least, which is so poorly done. Like, I can understand if you're always like being told that you have to cover up, that you finally just want to show your body off, and how the first time that you do it, it's not going to be good, so you probably will overdo it, and then therefore have to learn to find your own balance when it comes to expressing your sexuality and stuff like that. That could have also been an episode. It could have been a whole character arc. But no, it was just, I guess, in this episode only, which it wasn't even a full episode 2 that actually explored it. It was just slut-shaming, instead of actually genuinely coming from the perspective of Jazz trying to find herself and stuff like that, and her finding the clothes that really boosts her confidence. No, we're not really getting that. We just see a picture that apparently Zoey has shot, and it goes viral, and everyone in the college campus just treats them like a piece of meat. Like, again, not like human beings, no. They just, I guess, see good. I mean, they're all the twins are very much fit. They have an amazing body, or at least Jess has the, the desired body type that everyone would like to have. And she's definitely capitalizing out of it. I mean, in real life, by the way, the actress who plays Jazz actually does do the, the provocative posts. Sorry. Which would have been interesting if she was if she had a say in that episode. It would have been really, really interesting. But yeah, sadly, in this episode, we just see Jess and Sky change their outfits and their styles, and her boyfriend, Doug, feels very uncomfortable with it, which is fair. I would have liked to hear an honest and raw conversation of at least the most realistic conversation that could happen if your partner would do this, It would have been interesting, but no, they don't get it. Not even really closely. They don't have the real conversation that comes with it. Jazz just says, hey, it's not real, it's just a photo, believe me, I'm not checking for anyone, and stuff like that. And Sky is really much uncomfortable, and in the end of the episode she says, hey, you do you, but I'm not doing this thing. And surprisingly, everyone, again including Sky, is against Jazz showing off her skin. That's really interesting. And it's just insane how they had to use this weird Photoshop shoot in order to justify the behaviors of those men, you know? Like, that's insane. You know, the photo, I'm just definitely gonna put a picture in here, but the photo looks so photoshopped, and it just doesn't make sense. Why would you think that photo looks good? It just doesn't. Like, why would you, like, what happened during the meeting? Like, huh? I don't know, it's just weird. The whole episode is weird. Like, really, like, everyone. And by the way, Jazz got sexually assaulted in campus, in front of her boyfriend, in front of her friends. And later, after Doug beat him, or just punched him, I'm not really sure what happened, Doug and Jazz were alone at the apartment, and she asked him, hey, what can I do? What do you want me to do? How can I help? He got mad, saying it would help if we would stop posting things like that, you know, and then kind of blamed her for getting sexually assaulted. And that is really the part when I started losing respect for him. He really looked into her eyes and said that shit. And yeah, that's basically the episode. I find it weird. You can definitely tell that the writer's beliefs really come through each character. No, because like if it was an actual honest like this depiction of how the pros and cons of being an Instagram thought, that would probably mean that we would humanize them again and have, for example, Chastity and Jazz talk about their experience and them being vulnerable with each other and all that stuff, you know. That would have been interesting. Or if, you know, something, but just the whole episode was just dedicated to slut shame Jazz and Chastity for no reason. For just wanting to show off their skin, you know, what Jazz said in the end was really nice, and I really wished she would have said those things instead of just saying, oh, I'm just doing it for the sponsors. No, just say that you want to finally has, you know, the control over her life. Like, everything before was just everyone telling her what to do, and she finally controls, you know, one aspect of her life. And that's when everyone started to criticize her and telling her that what she chose, you know, for her to show off her body was wrong, and how awful and how shitty that feels. That was at least a little bit of humanization, but again, that was also quickly like thrown out the window, sadly. So we're gonna talk about casual homophobia, and this episode is from season 3, episode 6. I'm not sure what the episode is called, but you get what I'm saying. If you want to see the video, you can. It's not the video, it's the episode. So anyways, so I've been editing this video for like 2 weeks now, like consistently, and I do have to say, when it comes to like the whole casual homophobic episode, Aaron and Doug did have just a little bit character development. I mean, better than nothing, but they had it. Sorry. I really cannot tell you which episodes they are when it happened. But if you just, you know, in the 4th season, just look for them. I would say Doug and Aaron and Vivek are more and more affectionate, and, you know, they're not disgusted. They're just, you know, yeah, embracing it basically. I mean, we never see them still actually work on it, but I guess that's kind of a hint that they are behind the scenes. Even though I would like to know what that looks like. But yeah, so I guess props for them to have a little bit character development, but that's it. The episode itself is still horrible because there's no nuance. It's still just it's basically a black and white episode. Like, obviously the correct mindset shares Nomi, because she's the only LGBTQ character really there who could defend Vivek, even though I'm kind of disappointed with Jazz. And well, at that time there wasn't really anyone there, but yeah, I'm kind of disappointed with Jazz that she's also like in the same opinion of Anna and Aaron and Doug, that men kissing other men makes them gay. Like, why? And also it was just so passive aggressive. No, not passive aggressive, I meant to say microaggressive, because they kept saying, or Aaron or someone kept saying, like, I'm not homophobic, I have gay friends, stuff like that, or I'm all about gay rights. Like, just because you're all for that doesn't mean you cannot have problematic beliefs, So that's my opinion. The episode was really just shitty. Should have been still in, not have been released. But I guess at least that's still just a little bit character development. Dear writers, it was right there. And what I mean is that when it comes to social issues, it was right there. Like, instead of talking about every single little social issue, they could have just, tried to talk about the most important ones that I really want to talk about. That's how they should have went with it, But no, they didn't. They just wanted to talk about each issue for one, like, maximum about 10 minutes, and that's it. They never wanted to talk about it again. For example, student loan debt. I really don't get why it's only affecting Aaron. And how that also was just like the issue got introduced, but I guess he doesn't suffer with college debt anymore for some reason in the end of the episode. Like, how does that still not leave him with a lot of college student debt, even if he gets a job or something? Like, how is that really gonna help him, Like, I'm really, really confused. And it also just is so confusing on why it would only affect Aaron. Like, what about Doug? What about Anna? Who else? What about Luca? What about Nomi? Like, shouldn't they also have student loan debt? Shouldn't they also want to talk about it? Shouldn't they also have jobs? Like, I never really saw anyone working. I mean, only Doug for one episode. I mean, yes, it got mentioned a few times, but again, when it comes to Nomi and stuff like that, and Anna, I've never have seen them working, and yet they still can afford those expensive apartments and even this expensive ass house in university. Like, what? Huh? Make it make sense, sweetie. Like, shouldn't they all just eat ramen noodles and stuff like that? Like, what? And also, for Anna to be Republican, if they just wanted a girl in order to seem political diverse, it's dumb and weird, but at least thing they could have done is really establish what her beliefs are, and also talk about what other people's perceptions are when it comes to Republicans, saying what makes someone Republicans, and maybe the stereotypes that comes with it, that aren't the truth to it, if that makes sense. Like, I would have liked to see if they shown us what people get wrong about Republicans, because we like a lot of people like to think that conservative Republicans are, all of them are racist and stuff like that. Like, I would have liked to see that maybe debunked or something, or at least make it just bringing it up on how complicated that issue could be in the Republican community, for example, especially if you're a person of color, and how that works. That I would have loved to see that, and her having conversations with other Republican women and stuff like that, and her maybe second guessing her own beliefs, which makes sense because in the end of the season, in season 4, she says that basically that she doesn't define herself as a Republican anymore. And I would have liked to see that episode when she questions her beliefs. We never got it. We just, I guess, have to accept that she did, which is so fucking weird. But anyways, or maybe there was also a chance for Aaron to second guess his beliefs too, Like, just because you're an activist doesn't mean that every single belief that you have is right or really benefits society. I mean, he was really made it a lot clear that he was, of course, like, for black people, but stuff like that. But it was mainly for black men, and you can really see it if you pay attention to it in the show, because he only talks mainly about either black people in general or about black men. He never talks about the struggles about black women and what they face, or especially when it comes to discrimination with the hair texture or featureism, or then he never talks about colorism as well. He never really also talks about LGBTQ black people or disabled black people, how they are also like even treated even worse. And he never really talks about the bad things in the black community. Anyways, or again, if you really didn't want Zoey to work, or if you really didn't wanted Zoey to work in the entertainment industry, then why did you just made her quit for this one small rumor? Why couldn't you just give her like a real reason why she wanted to quit the job? Maybe because she faced microaggressions, or I don't know, something that a lot of black women have to deal with in the entertainment industry, because I can imagine how that wouldn't be a piece of cake. But what we have seen, it is, or it seems like for Zoey that it is. And by the way, what I also noticed, especially if I wanted to compare it to the sex life of college girls, that show, by the way, I can recommend that show to you enough. Like, in that show, there was also a black female athlete there, but instead of running for track, she is playing soccer. And it's also interesting how they are way better when it comes to tackling social issues, especially when it came to the struggles of female athletes, especially in college. They really shown how the school treats the male athletes versus the female athletes, and how even if they suck, that they get way more budget, of a bigger budget, and are taken way more seriously, even though the girls' female soccer team is way better and also has way more trophies. That was very interesting. But I also would have been even a jury on top if that she would have even been more criticized as a black athlete, compared to her other white athletes. And that's the same thing when it comes to the twins. I would have really liked to see how they would have been kind of also discriminated, in the first episode, Zoey mentions that they both had to face more obstacles as a black female athlete, and also gets more criticized, especially when it comes to their body and their hair and how they present themselves. So let me talk about the attempted diversity for just a little second, because it's kind of funny how they try to market this show as black as possible, but the black people in the show, they don't really matter. And I'm talking about almost everyone except Zoey, and obviously it includes the twins, Aaron, Luca, Jillian, Rochelle, and Doug. Even if they just appear in one episode, they don't really matter. And let me tell you what I mean with that is Zoey doesn't really have a lot of character development. I think it's, everyone can agree on that. Yes, they have their own adventures. Yes, they have their own lives. Like, I also like some of them. Obviously, I like Rochelle. I like Julian. I like, the twins as well. But they are not really friends with Zoey. Like, they don't bond. They don't have anything to do with each other, really. Like, yes, they may be in the same friend group, but that's about it. They don't really have any impact on Zoey's life. So it kind of, it makes me question on why do they exist in this show. And my theory is so that they have, black people in the background. The writing isn't also really good. That makes me want to say, like, let me get to know more on X, Y, and Z. They are just fine. Of course, some of them do sound interesting characters, but again, because it's not their story, it goes nowhere. So that is just frustrating, because again, if they don't have an impact, or if they don't have a real connection to Zoey, then they don't matter. And it's just annoying when they get any screen time. That's why it really was annoying when Aaron and Luca or Doug was there, even though they have no connections to Zoey or her friend group, really. And when it came to, like, especially with the whole colorism thing, I feel like the least thing they could have done is, to let Anna and Vivek show off their Cuban and Indian culture, but they didn't even really do that. By the way, the actress who plays Anna isn't even Cuban. I think she's Mexican and something else. And the guy who plays Vivek is actually not Indian, but comes from the Philippines. So, I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say it's problematic or something to get canceled over, but it's just confusing on why they just didn't, just changed the nationalities when it came to the characters. Like why does Vivek necessarily have to be Indian? Like, that doesn't really make sense. The same thing with Anna. She doesn't necessarily have to be Cuban. And I would have loved for them to talk about those things more in depth, because there are far bigger things in life than just romantic problems, sweetie. And it's just frustrating. And now I'm gonna actually go into the unrealistic part of things, and that is, always wears expensive clothing, which, of course, if it's just a show that you want to see with black people who wear those expensive clothing and stuff like that, of course it's nice. It's pleasant on the eyes, don't get me wrong. It's also one of the reasons why I even continued watching the show, even though Zoey's character really annoyed me. It's because of the style. It's because no one really deals with anything, and how everyone for some reason can afford the most expensive clothing and at the same time go out every single night, and on top of that also have enough time to do their homework, to make their finals, and on top of that to have a very much active dating life and maintain this friendship, even though everyone studies completely different things. Like, I'm just gonna talk about it quickly. Like, Anna and Nomi apparently study law. I was so shocked when I found that out. Like, what? When? Huh? Because, like, it doesn't make sense, sweetie. I've never heard Nomi talk about, like, law at all. Like, I kind of expected her to study women's genders or something like that. Something about feminism and stuff like that. Like, I've never would have guessed that she would study law. The same thing with Anna. I thought she would, like, study politics and stuff like that. And apparently Doug, I guess, study business. I'm not really sure how that's the difference between business and studying economics, because interesting enough, Jazz studied economics. Like, huh? What? When I never heard her have any interest in that. They just really pulled that out of their own ass. And just, they saw a list of, the most chosen school majors and just went with it. It's like, okay, whatever. And Vivek, of course, engineering, and Luca and obviously Zoey, fashion, not really totally sure what they graduated with, but who knows. But when it comes to Aaron, I am really confused. What did he study? I am confused. What did he study? I don't think it was ever mentioned. Interesting enough, whatever. Like, he has like 6 figures of worth of debt, and we don't even know what he studied. Whatever. But yeah, again, it's just so interesting how, like, in the first season, it was well established that the twins doesn't have, are the broke students, and they even sell their track gear in order to afford the simplest things, or to even afford to go out with their friends. And yeah, that's kind of sad. But we never really see them ever after that episode ever again, that they struggle with money. They just have money and can wear expensive clothing brands. I know, I'm confused on why and how they can do that. We never see them. I don't know if they continued selling their track gear or if they just stopped and all of a sudden got a lot of money. And what's also interesting, no one knows apparently what assignments are, and if no one does any homework. I mean, we see Zoey do her homework in the first season, but that was only in one episode. After that, we never see her having any group projects really ever again, and the only group projects that she has only with Luca. I was kind of confused. You could have easily given us a dark-skinned girl that Zoey could work with and make them become friends, But no, I didn't, because I just didn't want to have a dark-skinned girl in the show. Oopsie, I said it. But who didn't? And what really annoys me the most is that the show really tries to tell you or make it seem like that your love life is the most important thing, and there's nothing else when it comes to adulthood that is just as important. Never mind the fact that you probably have to deal with learning about time management and what else, to learn how to budget, to finally get a job, to know again how to budget, and how to maintain friends, or how to maintain a social life while also studying your ass off, and also have time for yourself, and on top of that to also have a relationship. That is not that much time as you think it is. I mean, of course, the shows like Grownish or the white people try to make it seem like it's a piece of cake, but if it's not, sweetie. I mean, I'm not studying currently. I don't plan to, honestly. But what I hear or what I see or what I absorb with my friends is definitely the lack of time that they have every time they have to study. For example, I at least have to wait 3 months until they're done with their finals, and done studying, until they finally can have time to go out with each other. If that was shown in Grownish, that would have been nice. That's one of the reasons why I really love the sex life of college girls, because they do show, at least with the one character, how hard it can be, especially if you're not a straight A student, and how also the stress of keeping up good grades also can cause harm to your mental health. I mean, the show only addressed mental health twice, barely addressed. I mean, yes, they addressed it, they acknowledged its existence, but they didn't really actually talk about it. Even though they are relatively good episodes, it was still surface level, sweetie. Come on now. I mean, we finally had a main character, aka Jazz, having depression, and we still only had one episode that was dedicated to it. Why couldn't we see, or at least why couldn't we see the pill that you take for depression, how that affects you and your brain? I would have liked to see her perspective in that episode or in the second episode after that. I would have liked to see it, to actually show that it has long-term effect on you. Like sometimes depression is not something that you can fix with one conversation or with one therapist. Like sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes that even that cannot make it go away. And I would have liked for them to, show that a little bit longer than just an episode. And the same thing when it comes to Zoey's anxiety, by the way. Like, I'm gonna talk about it because it's just disgusting how they used her anxiety as as a plot device to make people forgive her because she's so under stress. I mean, if she wasn't under stress, she probably wouldn't have had a panic attack, right? So I guess we forgive you in that kind of sense. And it really annoyed me because like we never talked about it. I mean, the episode in season 4B or in the last half of the 4th season is when we again got this told that Jazz has a situational depression and how Zoey immediately uses her mental health issues that she had for one episode or one or two episodes and compared with her depression, and how also Nomi compared her postpartum depression with hers, which is okay. It's still not the same thing, but I can see where she's coming from. But yeah, again, I thought this is gonna be a progressive show and not really having the relationship aspect in front of it. I thought we're gonna see Zoey finally being on her own, learning to be by herself, or maybe even other characters, to learn that. And maybe talk about how they don't really have any real self-esteem and how they're planning to work on it, and maybe having trouble to make new friends and maintain them. Again, like I said, I would have loved to see that. But no, relationship drama, relationship. That's the only reason why you even would have screen time in that show, which is really sad. And one of the last things, I'm so tired anyways, so now I'm gonna talk about what could be removed to make the show better, or what could be removed that could have made the show better. You will see. I actually don't think I will watch season 5. I was actually shocked that they renewed it. I'm really curious how they are gonna have Zoey and Junior. Anyways, I want to talk about it later. But yeah, in my opinion, the whole narration is annoying. Why does she have... I know they kind of copied it from Blackish and they thought, it worked well for Blackish, why not use it as well on Grownish? But no, it's way too much. And also the whole narration and the fourth wall break is way too much. Who says that? It was a good idea. I can understand the whole fourth wall breaking, trying to make it cute, giving it a aesthetic, but it just doesn't work. Because it's just too much. It's too much Zoey. Why do I have to know what she thinks constantly every fucking single second? I am not a child. Why am I being treated like one, that show is supposed to be for 18-year-olds, I am supposed to be the target audience, I am 20. But yeah, if they just let things be and not have the need to talk and let Zoey explain, be confident that your actors and that the writing should be enough in order to show the message that you want to portray. What really bothered me is that they speed through the social issues less than 20 minutes, but they drag the whole relationship issue for multiple seasons. The whole love triangle started in the first episode till the season finale in season 4. Sweetie, what? I mean, and the thing is, we all knew that she's gonna pick Aaron in the end. It was nothing new, sweetie. I mean, she basically picked herself. They kind of found a loophole and made Aaron to go to New York to be with her. which is really a clever loophole, I have to say. I didn't expect that. I actually really expected him to be in South Africa, which was kind of naive of me to think. But yeah, we will see how that will, I guess, progress in the 5th season. But I'm not gonna be watching the 5th season because I'm done. I am really done. Don't care about the show. I wish it's gonna suffer. It's gonna be the last season. I was so disappointed to see that Junior is in Hellllooo. Like, he was supposed to be in HBU. Like, he was supposed to get his own show and not be in the same show with his sister. Like, what? Like, what is he just gonna have his own 4th season now or something? It's like really much confusing to me. And what I also like really didn't like is how they were so busy talking about racism, but they never showed it. I don't know, it's just something that I really didn't like, because yeah, they could have done something with that, you know? Again, the whole discrimination when it comes to the twins and being female athletes, how being black also adds on top of their struggles, and how like Zoey as a black girl gets treated in a entertainment industry, because like we see what kind of women they prefer, you know, light skin with type 3 here. I mean, she fits that standard, but like still I can see how they would still be like treated shitty, you know? Like, just because someone looks like a Zendaya doesn't mean they will have endless amounts of opportunities, you know? Like, I would have liked to see that. But no, you're not gonna get that. And also, there was like one talk that Aaron had to do in the 4th season that was basically about a guide for black students in a predominantly white institutions, which again, I would have really liked to see how he came up with that idea and all that stuff, and how he got discriminated, or how he, you know, felt shitty and therefore created Hawkins. I would have loved to see that, but no, we never get to, and we probably never will. And it's just so frustrating, because I mean, they have the plot, they have the ideas, they have everything that they need to make this an interesting show, but they just don't use it. Like, why don't you use that idea and turn it into an episode or into a whole character arc, in giving him a reason to be an activist? So we're gonna talk about what could have improved the show. I mean, it can still be a lot of improvements because there's a 5th season coming again, but like, I have no hope for that in my opinion. I really don't. But just in case that some person is gonna watch this video, I'm just gonna list a few things, you know? Please prioritize what you want to talk about. What I mean is the whole social issues thing. Like, if you want to talk, or if you really desperately want to talk about consent and maybe sexual abuse on camp, especially, you know, women who are victim to that, and how that is like a big problem in universities in general, in America, I mean, probably worldwide, but especially in America, that you know, make a whole episode, not even an episode, that would be horrible, no, make multiple episodes about that, you know, give us, you know, like how the victim feels, and, you know, what they're going through, all that stuff, etc. You know, just like the sex life of college girls. They have done it really well, in my opinion. And, yeah, or maybe if you want to talk about being a black student in a predominantly white institution, how that could also, like, very much be frustrating and hard to deal with, especially with the whole microaggressions and all that stuff. I mean, it was cute. I liked the final episode of season 4, but again, it just felt pointless. Like, I didn't learn anything. No one in the cast, no one in the friend group learned or became a better person, you know? Like, no one. Like, literally no one. So it was the same personality. I mean, yes, a bit has changed. The same thing with other people. But not much, not for me to say like, oh shit, started from the bottom, now we're here. No, that's not what it felt like. Like, I really I don't see the point of this show, because there were so many messages thrown at your face as an audience member. It just got blurry what the message was, because we all knew or could have already assumed that Zoey was already going to be a successful something, designer, or I guess stylist. The same thing with her being with Aaron at the end. I could have definitely predicted that on my own. I probably wouldn't have predicted that she would get the company from Luca, but she could have easily created her own company if that wasn't the case. So please, in the future, if someone decides to reboot Grownish for some reason, keep that in mind. Ask yourself, what is the message that you want to have from a coming of age story? What is the viewer, what does he or she or they feel, or what do you want them to think? And what I also really liked is, of course, like having more black people that were actually relevant for a supposed black show that wasn't really black. I get it that like a black guy created the show, and also we have a black girl who is the protagonist, but just because you have those things doesn't necessarily make it a black show. I mean, if you really had to be bullied by your own fans and it took you 2 seasons to finally cast black dark-skinned girls into a black show, shouldn't you be ashamed, sir? And the worst thing is, they weren't even there during the whole 3rd season. They were just there for like a maximum 3 to 4 episodes, and that's it. We never heard anything from them. Or at least Rochelle could have been like Zoe's work friend, that is always there, who can help her and stuff like that. Could have also been interesting, but no, we had to have, I guess, disposable dark-skinned female characters. And the last thing, which is really, really most important in my opinion, I can understand it, but at the same time, you have to be okay letting go of characters who serve no purpose to the plot. The same thing with Doug, with Aaron, with Luca, kind of Vivek too, and again the twins. Like, none of them really serve any plot. I mean, yes, when it comes to Luca, obviously in the whole love triangle with Aaron, but that actually those 2 relationships actually didn't really seem to affect her in any real way. Like, yes, I mean, the only small difference I noticed when she was with Aaron is that she did notice or became more woke, I guess, if you can say it like that. But that could have also easily happened if she just researched it on her own. But yeah, that's it. In conclusion, hola. So I just really did not like what I said in the conclusion in the original video, so I just typed in what I feel like better represents my feelings towards the show. So I'm just gonna read it out. So, Grownish isn't horrible, but it isn't great either. It is at its best mediocre with some problematic themes attached to it. I'm not trying to cancel it by any means. I just wanted to shed some light to the things that shouldn't have been taken so casually. To be honest, I wouldn't even make this video if they're committed to making the show an escape/comfort show. And I feel like it would have thrived if it did that, because the show doesn't know what it wants to be. It tries to be very serious and very melodramatic at the same time. With more competent and younger writers, it could work, but it doesn't. So they would have to pick and choose. Now that Zoe's younger brother, aka Junior, becomes a new member and protagonist in season 5, I can see it getting even more messier than the previous seasons. So I am really grateful again for you to be here at the very end. I really thank you, and thank you for watching. So if you like this video and if you like commentary in general, then hit the like button and subscribe if you want to. Of course, nobody's forcing you. Just want to mention it. It's just a casual, sweet commentary channel, by the way, so I'm not gonna be reacting anymore to things, maybe sometimes here and there, but I'm definitely gonna do this more, even if it's only like 1 or 2 people who watch this thing. Yeah, anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.